Welcome to the TeamWoods podcast. I'm your host, Scott Fain, and today I'll be talking with TaNia Bradley Thomas of Trinity Realty Services. TaNia is a broker and a team leader servicing the Southeast Michigan area, and as always, she's a delight to talk to. She shares a few tips on being a smart home buyer and how much she and her team care about helping folks make educated decisions when it comes to purchasing a home. So without further ado, let's start the show.
Good afternoon. I'm here today with TaNia Bradley Thomas, the wonderful and talented TaNia Bradley Thomas. Thank you very much. From Trinity Realty, the Trinity team. Tell me a little bit about your well, first I'll let you say hello. How you doing, TaNia?
I am fine. How are you, Scott?
I'm fine. I must be nervous talking to you after such a long time. We haven't talked in about a year or so.
Yeah,
so just
it's been a while.
say a little catch up. How do you remember how we all got together between you and my partner Matthew and myself?
I do. I believe I was working at Realty, and you guys were doing some things with the broker over there, Reggie. And
doing some consulting.
Yep, and I think we just started working together from there. I was in need of some help, and you guys helped me out, and we helped each other out.
Right. That was it. Yeah, because when I first got introduced to you, it was mainly through Matthew, and he had a chance to actually meet you in person, and just was impressed by how professional and about it you were. You're really on it. And that's one thing I can say that I've taken through our relationship over the years is that I've always respected how well you do what you're doing. You were very serious about learning about the industry and learning about real estate, and I really love that about working with you. As far as working with you, especially when it comes to your consistency and being honest, one of the things I love about that. Oh, well, yeah. You'd be surprised working with as many people as we've worked with over the years. You're probably one of my favorite people to work with because of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So how long have you been in the business? If someone is just getting introduced to you, how long have you been in the business?
I have been in a business for about 15 years, in just retail real estate, regular retail real estate, about 10 years. It's my 10th year as a real estate agent.
You're a broker now, right?
Yeah, I am a broker. Yeah, real estate broker now.
Okay. Yeah, because we were with the Bradley Group, and then what's the name of your new team or the team that you're with now?
Yeah, so my team was Bradley Realty Group, and then I changed it over to Trinity Realty Services is what's the name of it now.
And that's yours, right? Wholly your creation?
Yeah. Yep, it is. Well, yep, me and the Lord. He gave me Trinity. That's why it changed.
Okay. What was the reason for the name change? Like, what does that mean to you?
We changed the name. I received a different business vision. So the Bradley Realty Group was more so just the real estate team. Trinity encompasses all real estate. So I decided to have different branches. So we're doing some regular retail real estate. We're doing some training and some wholesale real estate. And so it's a branch. It's an umbrella that encompasses everything real estate pretty much.
Okay. And one of the reasons why we're talking today is we wanted to talk a little bit about buyers and some of your buyer experiences and things like that. So first, starting off, I would like to talk a little bit about your experiences from last year because it's New Year, so that means there's new goals on the table. And before we get into anything like that, I want to see, how did 2019 treat you and your team?
So 2019 was good. I was doing a lot of building, so it wasn't where I wanted it to be, but we did really good. We closed about 56 units in 2019. As far as regular retail units, we also did, some stuff on the other end of it and some flips. So we were expanding. I was doing a lot of expanding. So yeah, we did about 56 in 2019.
was that your goal for the year? Like when you started off in 2018, was your goal to do, like how many did you plan to do in 2019? And did you exceed that?
Yeah, so I wanted to keep a steady pace. So we did exceed what we did the following year. I knew that I didn't set a high goal for 2018 because I had so many goals as far as expansion went that I needed to focus my attention on. So we did achieve our goals because we were just trying to stay steady.
Okay. So it sounds like you took the time to create a game plan moving forward. Is that
Absolutely.
something that you do that as a matter of habit, or like what was I'm losing my words here. Help me out.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah. So the reason why I took a step back was because so much came to me at once, and we had big goals, a big vision. So I knew that it takes time to build a big vision. It's not something that you can just jump right into. And I'm still taking some time doing it now, but it's moving along because the foundation is built. So you always have to build a foundation in order for anything to stand. So I know I had to take time to do that.
Okay. And who are you building your dream and vision with? Tell me a little bit about your team.
Okay. Yep. So we are all working under Keller Williams Lakeside, working with Keller Williams Lakeside. I have Heaven Pennyman. She is my, she just moved from our buyers specialist to an investor specialist. So she works with investors, signing them on market and off market deals. And then I have Keisha. Keisha Roach. She's my buyer specialist now. She's the only buyer specialist I have currently. And then I have Deasia. She is coming on as a buyer specialist. She's doing some training now, but she's handling all my listing coordinating. And then I have an assistant, a wonderful assistant that I don't know if I could do it without her. Vanessa Adam is my assistant. So that's my team, and then me.
See, that's one of the things that I like too about you. Like, you didn't have a team when we first got together, and you always seem to have a good handle on delegation and being able to separate out and say, okay, you do this, you do that. So I appreciate, that you've taken the time to build some good folks underneath you. And it's all about not wasting time. So in keeping with that, I want to talk a little bit about some of your buyer experiences, both good and bad. Can you give me like one buyer experience for like a good one that you had and a bad one that you had, and what you learned from that?
Okay.
From each one?
So a good buyer experience, I would say, a good buyer experience always is when I can find someone their dream home. So I had a couple who was looking, they knew exactly where they wanted to live, and they weren't settling for anything less than that particular area. And it was a small area in New Baltimore actually that they wanted to stay in, subdivision. And so a property came on market and we went immediately to go see it, because in the market that we were coming out of, you had to move pretty fast. So we went out to see it, and it was multiple offers, and they put their highest and best offer in. I coached them along. They put their highest and best offer in, and it did not get accepted. And, so I'm like, I'm that one that's always trying to encourage my clients through it. I'm like, well, let's just claim it. Let's just claim the house. Maybe it'll come back on the market. And sure enough, it came back on the market, and they were so happy. And it just made my heart happy that they were able to get it. I'm like, yes, we spoke it into existence and we got it. So that was a really good one, where even though they were disappointed because their offer wasn't accepted, it came back around to them, and they are still in love with their house. So that was a really good one for me.
The thing that I took from that story is the be ready, Sounds like you had your buyers all prepped and ready to go so that when an opportunity came along, you were ready to jump out there and run and go and chase after it.
Right.
And I appreciate that, especially when you're talking about, because I know you've always been a person of faith since I've known you. And speaking from faith, that's a good mental state to be, especially when you talk about real estate, keeping a positive attitude with it. So,
yeah.
if someone wanted to understand what you mean by highest and best, how would you describe that, just so I can make sure we get understood here?
Okay, so with highest and best, because, when it's a seller's market, meaning the sellers have priority, they can choose who they want to go with. They're getting multiple offers. You want to put your highest and best offer in, which means the highest price, the best terms. So, just because it's the best price doesn't mean it's going to get it. You want to have good terms as well. There are several things that you can offer, from appraisal guarantees, which means, you're guaranteeing that you'll pay the price that you're putting on the purchase agreement, even if the property doesn't appraise. There are, shorter closing periods, shorter inspection periods, not having concessions or contingencies. And a concession is when you are asking the seller to help you with your closing costs. So, those are things that, you can alter. If you don't want to give a higher offer, you just want to give the best terms. Those are terms that you can offer.
Okay. So, yeah, again, that goes back to being prepared and knowing what you can put down and knowing what the status is before you even get down to the nitty gritty. I've seen many a deal fall apart because of, not being prepared in that way. And I know you don't like to do that. Now, about a bad experience with the buyer that you can learn something from.
So I would have to say that my worst experience was finding my client. I found my client the perfect house. He was absolutely in love with it. I went over he closed, everything went well with the closing. And then he invited me to the open house. He had plussed it out with new furniture. It was beautiful. And I started to do distressed properties. I started to do research for distressed properties. So I was out at sheriff sales and I saw his property come across the sheriff sale. And it was like a year and a half later, and that broke my heart. And so that's kind of what led me into wanting to do buyer seminars, because so many buyers, so many agents and buyers, agents are just going to push to get the house closed. Okay, I don't care what your financial situation is. As long as you can close on this house, I want to get, my commission. But my heart is to educate buyers so that they can not only buy a home, but keep the home that they're buying, and keep them, and make sure they're not overextending themselves, and just give them tools, to help change their mindset about owning.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We touched a lot of that in 2008, people buying properties that they couldn't afford and then ended up losing them because money was so cheap at the time. So I appreciate that. I heard you're giving some buyer seminars coming up. You want to talk a little bit about that, what you're planning to do?
Yes, so my goal is to do 4 this year, so 1 a quarter, and to just educate buyers. I'm going to have me speaking, and then a mortgage company to talk on the different loan products that are available and the different options you have for closing costs, help with closing costs, the different grants and programs that they have for first-time home buyers. I want, people to be educated on that. I am also going to have the title company out so they can be educated on what's done, during that time period of title, when the title is being ran, and to make sure they are, they know what's going on with that, and then also have a home inspector out. So the home inspector will, let them know what to look for and why a home inspection is important. And I'll just be going over all the details on what you need to do to get started and the whole process from beginning to end. I usually, with all my buyers, I do a buyer's consultation. So in that buyer's consultation, I'm explaining to them before we even get out to look for homes what the whole process entails and what you need to, the mindset you need to have, and just going over to kind of fill them out. So I figured it would be good to just do it in a whole. So, because there's so many people that don't know that they can buy, and don't know what it takes. So I just wanted to, educate people and help them to become owners.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like you're trying to be a one-stop shop with what you're creating here, because that's great. First off, as it comes to education, and there's a lot of people that don't know that they can do something like this. One of the things I think we like to talk about is vision as it comes to being a buyer, doing anything, but especially if you're trying to buy a house, having a vision of what you want. And you're doing a lot to help people help create and formulate that vision.
Right. Yeah, that's the goal.
Do you have
2020
anything?
Is the year of vision. I didn't hear him say.
That's funny. 2020 is the year of vision. That's funny. Just before we step this up, and because we're just talking briefly today, do you have anything more you want to say on just the overall process of how to create a smart buyer? Like, what would you want to leave people with if they're going to come out and try and purchase a home? Like, what's a good nugget you can leave folks with?
To be prepared and have a plan, have a plan of action, know what you want to do, and don't overextend yourself. If you're married, I would always say go with one person, try to use one person's income so you're not overextending yourself when you're getting your mortgage, go with something that you are used to paying or close to it. You don't want to jump out of paying $800 a month to $1,500 in a mortgage, because you want to gradually grow to it. So that's something that I just want to leave with everybody. Just make sure you're prepared and you know what you can afford, and before you even go out and start, because you'll get out and see something, you're like, I'm so in love with it, but it doesn't fit the budget, and you have to know the budget before you get out there. It's good to know the budget.
Yeah, I always used to caution people about falling in love with the house until you've actually closed on it, because there's so many things that go crazy. You know how these deals go.
Right. Yeah.
Things that fall apart at the last minute and stuff. And you're more likely to push yourself into a situation that is no longer good for you if you're in love with the house and you want to make it happen at all costs versus
right.
I want this house. And well, I want to thank you. How can people find you to get in touch with you, to reach out to your team and get their process started?
Okay, so we are Team Trinity Realty on Instagram, and then we are Trinity Realty Services on Facebook. So you guys can reach us there. And then my cell phone number as well, Scott, you probably can flash that on the bottom of the screen.
I'll put that in.
Yep. And then, so that's pretty much it.
And then when is this next buyer seminar? And
it is February 29th.
Oh, it's a leap year. I didn't even realize that until you just said that.
Yes.
February 29th, where is it taking place?
It is in Southfield. I can get you the address.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure to put that up for you as well on the screen. Well, anyway, thank you again for taking a little bit of time with me today. And like I said, sometimes you make me nervous. I get so, when we start talking and stuff like that, because I want to make sure I'm as on point as you always are when you're talking with me.
Oh,
so.
my goodness. No.
No, but I have a great deal of respect for what you do and how you do it, so I wanted to make sure I came correct, and I appreciate you doing it. So thank you again, TaNia, really.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take it easy.
You too. Bye-bye.